Welcome to Integerville. Positive Patty and her pleasant peeps do their best to keep Integerville peaceful. Negative Nancy and her naughty neighbors only want to cause noisy nonsense all across Integerville. Every evening, Positive Patty and her pleasant peeps battle Negative Nancy and her naughty neighbors to rule Integerville. Okay, so if we apply that story to a practice problem, I want you to pause and think for a moment. If we are talking about superheroes and villains and comparing them to integers, which would be a superhero and which would be a villain? Typically, when we think about superheroes and villains, we think of superheroes doing positive things, and we think about villains doing negative things. I want you to think about this as we solve this integer problem. So let's start by circling each number with the sign in front. This shows us that we have 5 villains, or negative integers, and 3 superheroes, or positive integers. So I want you to think, if we have 5 villains against 3 superheroes, who is most likely going to win this battle? If you're thinking villains, you are absolutely correct. We have more villains than superheroes, so we are certain that villains will win this battle. Now let's visualize this. I am going to represent my villains using negative signs and my superheroes using positive signs. So I want you to think of your favorite superhero and villain combo. Maybe Batman and Joker, for example. So thinking about Joker approaching Batman, they are simply going to go to battle, cancel each other out, and disappear. So whenever you have one superhero battling one villain, they will do just that. They will go to battle, cancel each other out, and disappear. So we have one more opportunity for a battle here. So we will send them to battle and cancel them out. So remember to when we started working this problem, we predicted that the villains would win because there are more of them. And we see just that. We are left with 2 villains and no superheroes to battle them. Villains don't battle other villains. They're friends. So we are left with 2 villains, or an answer of -2. Let's look at another example. So starting by circling our number with the sign in the front. Here we have 7 villains and 1 superhero. So I want you to think again, make a prediction. If we have 7 villains and 1 superhero, who is going to win this battle? Let's visualize this one again by drawing negative signs to represent our villains and positive signs to represent our superheroes. So here we only have one opportunity for battle. There is only one villain available to battle the only superhero. So they are going to battle and cancel each other out. If you predicted that the villains would win this battle, you are absolutely correct. As you can see, we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 villains, or an answer of -6. Another practice problem. In this problem, we have 9 superheroes and 15 villains. Now, I know these are superheroes because any number that has no sign in front of it has an invisible plus sign. So here we have 9 superheroes and 15 villains. So again, I want you thinking before you solve the problem, who's going to win this battle? What are we going to be left with at the end? So there are my 9 superheroes. And 15 villains. So we have quite a few opportunities for battle here. Whenever we have a superhero next to a villain, we are going to send them to battle and cancel them out. So here we see again that we are out of superheroes to battle villains, and there are just villains left to hang out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 villains for a final answer of -6. Now let's work with some bigger numbers. The process is the same. We are going to circle the number with the sign in the front. And this time we have 57 villains and only 14 superheroes. So again, I want you to make a prediction. Who is going to have more members left after battle? You might be thinking, I don't have time to write down 57 villains. Might take you longer than expected. So looking back at a simpler problem, like the one we previously worked on, you can see that we are subtracting here. So when we have integer problems and bigger numbers to work with, we are simply subtracting. And when we subtract, that represents one villain battling one superhero and them canceling each other out. So before we start this problem, I think it is safe to say that the villains are going to win. There are many more of them. So I am going to leave a negative sign here by my answer. I know that the villains are going to eliminate all of the superheroes and we are only going to be left with villains. Okay? So since we talked about subtraction here, we're going to take our 57 villains and we are going to subtract 14 superheroes because that is what is going to happen at battle. So 7 minus 4. And 5 minus 1. So we are left with 43 villains after this battle.